A few months ago, Dr. Bawumia outlined his creative arts policies. Last week, John Mahama also laid down his ahead of the release of the publication of the NDC manifesto. Today, we're going to analyze these promises. And Showbiz A to Z captured about 22 of them. we will try to delve into the very, very pressing ones. So according to the NDC's flag bearer or presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, these are the things or some of the things they intend to do for the creative economy if they are voted into power. To make budgetary allocation for the creative arts, to declare the golden age of culture, arts and tourism, an overarching policy for the sector where there will be actions and modules to promote job creation and entrepreneurship. And under this, they will have the Black Star Experience, which will be one of the sub-themes to imbue Africanism in Ghanaians and encourage people to come from all over the world to see our arts, tourism, and culture. To renovate centers of arts and culture in the various regions. To streamline copyright modalities and IP laws. There will be a film festivals where Ghanaian films will be exhibited. They will also organize art exhibitions, music shows, fashion programs, and then there will be special focus on drama and theater arts. Playwrights, according to them, will be supported to exhibit their plays. Creatives will attend international trade fairs to exhibit Ghanaian culture and arts. Then again, they will pursue the dream of establishing a film village, get equipment at low cost for filmmakers to rehabilitate the National Theatre in Accra and to build a second National Theatre in Kumasi, to acquire a special events channel for the creative arts programs on digital terrestrial television, DTT, provided technology that will make that show payable, so people will pay to watch, to give special rates to performances, the Black Star Square, Accra International Conference Center, and other venues owned by the government. To encourage the teaching of music and arts in the curriculum, provide trained teachers for such subjects, to introduce tax breaks for creative artists who have tax identification numbers, formalize a fund for aging artists, revive the National Festival of Arts and Culture, NAFAC, and then in partnership with the private sector develop all the tourist sites, revive the Marine Drive project, provide amusement parks, review the tourism fund, make sure it benefits the various stakeholders in the tourism chain, build a new city on the banks of the Volta region with facilities that will generate arts activities and boost tourism, and then hold annual stakeholder dialogue with people in the creative arts. So these are some of the policy ideas laid down by John Dramani Mahama, who is the presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress. A few months ago, we heard that from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia from the NPP, and he laid down some 4-point policies awaiting the full manifesto from them. So we're here today to analyze, as usual. We have the creative economy on our hearts, so anytime the politicians come out to give some of these promises, we need to delve deeper into them and then see how they will benefit us. Today here with Uncle Ken, who is a broadcaster. He's been a manager before. A few days ago, I was watching Atongo Zimba's interview with Becky, and Atongo Zimba mentioned Uncle Ken as one of the few people that held him down way back together with Nanaya Redu. And I was like, hey, I was like 1 year old then. Uncle Ken is here. I have Kojo Preku Dankwa, convener, Foundation of Concerned Arts Professionals. I have Seven Xavier, president of Ghana Music Alliance, and later on we'll be joined by Robert Clark, creative entrepreneur. Peter Sedufia is a filmmaker. He will be joining us on Zoom, as well as George Quay, team lead for Image Bureau. So let's start. Let me welcome my guests into the studio again. Let me start from Seven.
Yeah.
Big boss. we are back.
We are back again.
You remember we were here a few weeks ago to proffer ideas.
Yeah.
And it appears most of these ideas have been captured by some of these political parties, or some of them. They were listening.
They were listening.
How are you doing, though?
I'm alright.
Good. So we'll be taking the promises one after the other. We can't do the 22, but we try to do a lot of them. Let me say again, welcome again to Kojo Preku Dankwa. Kojo, you were there. You were at the program.
Yes,
Oh, Kojo was there.
Yes, he was there. I was there too.
Oh, you too?
I was there.
Oh, nice one.
Yes, we were there to ask questions and reports.
Did you get to ask questions?
I made a submission. I made a submission on something Seven said when he did his presentation. Music business. Education.
Seven was there?
No. I mean, when we had our manifesto series.
Okay.
Seven made an input saying that we should have music business studied in our tertiary institutions. I think that was missing in their promises or policies, so I added that to them. And then Kojo Preku.
But it's part of the 22 you listed.
It wasn't in. It was only basic education, as in not music business in tertiary institutions.
Okay.
Yeah. So I made that input, and then Kojo Preku was also there to make some input. Kojo.
Yes, sir.
What was your assessment of that entire engagement?
Well, I think first of all, it is one of the things I expect all the political parties, should they want to get into the real creative economy and take it serious, will have to do. I was happy the NDC and John Mahama were able to gather the associations within the sector to meet them to talk about policy issues, just as he's been doing with the other institutions. I think he's done GUTA, he's done the transport sector, and done all those people. So getting the creative art industry to also get to speak and tell what they feel and what they think it is within their sector, for them to also inculcate into their manifesto. For me, it's a great idea first off. And I think that it was impressive that they were able to organize that. I mean, FIPAC was there, Actors Guild rep was there, Musica was there.
Yeah.
That even tells you, FOCAP was even there. I mean, that even tells you that it is something that is bringing everybody on board to make sure that coming up with a manifesto, or probably coming up with a designed program for the creative economy will not be a total sort of away from the reality on ground when it comes to the creative economy. So for me, I think that it was one of the good, interactions that really the NDC, really put together to do.
I think we should get straight into the ideas and see how feasible they are, if they will be beneficial to our industry. Join 99.7 FM. If you have any questions or comments, you can just send via WhatsApp number 055111197. We are examining John Mahama's policy ideas for the creative economy. So far, they've listed a number of them, and we are delving deeper into them. This one has to do with...
Kwame.
Yes, sir.
I'm awfully sorry.
Please.
For
Don't
interrupting. But I would want to ask Kojo a couple of questions to clarify a certain situation.
Don't worry.
Before we delve into
worry.
the actual stuff. Kojo,
Yes,
you
sir.
were there.
Yeah.
Okay. I have heard certain commentary about the whole encounter that suggests that certain representations were not given the opportunity to pose questions because the event was hijacked by the people you mentioned, the groups you mentioned. When you were speaking just now, you said FIPAC was there,
Musica was there,
Actors Guild was there,
FOCAP was there.
FOCAP was there. Those were the four institutions you mentioned just now, which means that the rest of the industry,
Moduga was there.
No, they were there. I only
Modiga.
just mentioned a few.
Huh?
As to,
But you did that because they were the most prominent.
Okay. Okay.
no,
Okay.
no.
Would you
No,
agree
I
with
understand
that?
where Uncle Ken is coming
Yeah,
from.
you did. You mentioned them because they were the
these
most prominent.
the three
Yeah.
associations that made a presentation at the program. 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But there were others, Modiga and other people.
Yeah, they were.
But they were the most prominent
Yeah.
at the place.
Yeah.
And
Well, for a long time, their existence in the
Yeah.
space has been, I mean, something you really. I mean, Five Pack has been on for how many years? God
Yeah.
knows.
I don't even.
Actors Guild equally same.
Because I'm not disputing that.
No, I
No.
get it.
I'm just saying
I think
that.
he's making
Okay,
a
I
point.
get you. Okay,
He's making
okay,
a point.
Okay.
The point-
In all,
Yes. The point I'm making is these institutions that you just mentioned
yeah.
are the most,
Visible.
visible. Thank you.
Or
That's the word.
Relevant now within the space. Okay, sort of.
Because they have the platform to talk a lot more
Sort of. Okay.
than,
okay.
say,
okay.
artists,
Okay.
fashion
Okay.
people.
Good.
Once in a blue moon,
Okay,
you
I
invite
get
a
you.
fashion people to come and talk.
I get
But
I get you.
these people that you mentioned are always there
I get you.
in your face.
I get you.
And they were the people who were most prominent
I get you.
at the encounter.
I get
Sure.
you. I get you.
Sure.
Yeah?
I get
Sure.
you.
Is that true?
Sure.
I just want to
Yes.
establish that.
That's
yes,
true.
Yes,
That's
yes,
true.
yes. Your analysis. That's true.
Thank
I mean,
you.
yes, that's
Okay,
true.
go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Joy. 99.7 FM. Let's start with the very first one, and this has to do with a fund to be created for aging artists.
We will formalize the Aging Artist Fund. This one is my own person. It's a greedy, the selfish, because it will take the burden off me for the current ones that I'm taking care of. I think that the state should take part of that burden, and so we'll create a fund for aging artists, and we'll identify the indigent ones who are in support, so that we can get them money to buy their medicines and be able to feed themselves. And so we'll set up the Aging Artist Fund, and we'll formalize it.
Okay. So this is the first one that we are going to take a look at: establishing Aging Artists Fund. Aging Artists Fund. I hope you all heard John Mahama, NDC's presidential candidate, talk about establishing Aging Artists Fund. Let me start from you, Uncle Ken.
Yeah,
Not because you are.
because I'm aged.
I can't say that.
You can't say what? Kwame.
Discrimination.
You see, this is what I don't like. When it's A, you say it's A. Don't try and color A
No, I just want
to be A minus.
because you have experience in the industry. So I'm starting with you. And again,
Yes. You see, this matter of
Yeah.
establishing a special, what is it,
Aging
Fund.
yeah.
for aging musicians is something I've always had an issue with. Because who qualifies to be an aging musician? Is it the one who comes out to tell you that they have issues so they can get help from you? Or you're going to look at all aging musicians like, I don't even know exactly how LEAP works. You know about LEAP? Yeah? I don't know whether it's going to be that sort of format so that it can go across board. Because it looks like if you don't go out to talk, you are not aging, or you are not needing any assistance because you haven't been heard. If you are heard and the public take you on and ask for help on your behalf, you do get it sometimes. Not so. You do. So I always think that government resources are not easy to come by. There's so many sectors that need monies to function, If you go and tell creatives that I'm going to create a fund, and I have issues with fund creation in this country being mentioned by politicians. Kojo, you know why I have issues? I have issues because, one, I don't even want to go too far back. I want to just go to 2016 when the Development and Classification of Film Act was passed by the then outgoing NDC in 2016.
16, yeah.
Okay. It passed the bill. They passed the bill into an act.
Yeah.
So, Development and Classification of Film Act 935
Yeah.
is in session. In that bill, in that act, there was to be a film fund
Sure.
to help filmmakers who wanted to sort of put the name of the country out there with assistance. Now, 2016, and this is what?
2024.
2024, how many years? 7?
8.
You are a mathematician. 8 years, 7. And that fund has not been established. That fund has not been established. Aside that fund, we have the Creative Arts Act 1048,
Yeah.
which also establishes a fund, which has also not seen the light of day. Okay? So when you start mentioning fund, we will create a fund for this and that, I said to myself, I've always said, I wish Sadiq was here. He's always backed me. I've always said that I do not like government intrusion too much into the creative arts.
In terms of funding?
No.
Everything.
Everything?
Too much intrusion.
Okay.
Give me the policy. Give me the tools to work, because this is a private oriented business. Creative arts are for private people. And so immediately government comes in and starts promising these funds. And because the kitty is not large enough to go round, these funds are never created. Because I've given you a few that have not been created.
Sure.
So if you add another one, and even if it is created, this one, who's going to benefit from it? What will be the criteria? There will always be noise about a fund where people have to scramble to get bits and pieces off. So I don't like government messing in this industry. The laws that the government passed, Kwame,
Yeah.
the two laws, development and classification, the funds, they have not been. So why? When those funds are set up in those laws,
Yeah.
they can cater for some of these things. But you don't leave an act that was passed in 2016 and then come and tell me in 2024 that you're going to set up another fund when you have
For
not.
a different purpose, though.
Huh?
For a different purpose.
Yeah, whatever the purpose. It's all money that you need. The fund you set up in the Act 935 is important. Look, the NFA currently, as we speak, has if it's supposed to have 4 legs, it's standing on 2 or maybe 1. And you know.
Yeah.
So me, I do not like government intrusion too much into our affairs, Kwame. With funds. What is the purpose of Musica? I think Musica also have a fund for aged musicians.
Aging Musicians Welfare Fund.
So if you want to help Musica with their fund for aged musicians, I think that will even be a better way to approach the matter than to say you are going to set up a fund by yourself.
and this fund goes beyond just musicians, all creatives.
Creatives.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Sanga obejebi.
Must be a creative.
Kwame, so we are creative.
Make for the one wholesome.
So Kwame, it's not a bad thing to have a fund,
Yeah.
but let the right institutions have the fund
Okay.
and government stay out of it.
Good.
The act should be the most important priority of all the political parties to make sure that that act that they have both brought out, the NDC with the Development and Classification of Film Act
Yeah.
in 2016,
Yeah.
and the MPP 2020
2020
Creative Arts
Yeah.
Act 1048.
It's actually a bill now.
It's
a bill now.
The 1048?
No, it's
It's an
It's an
act.
act now. Yeah.
1048 is an act.
an
That's
act
why it
now.
has a number.
Yes. Yes.
That's why it has a number. 1048 2020.
Yeah.
It's a Creative Arts Act. Make sure what that act needs to make it, functional, gets that. And I think that government can stay there so long as it does that and leave the rest for the private sector to deal with in our industry.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. Yeah. Let me go to Seven Xavier, President of Ghana Music Alliance. So, Aging Artist Fund.
I think I probably support Uncle Ken because I also don't really support freebies. I don't support freebies. I can actually say that I do know exactly where maybe John Mahama is coming from with that, because most of the time when you hear an Asian musician asking for help,
that's the premise he laid.
he's like always the guy. And
Yes.
I'm actually surprised.
He did say that.
Yeah, he's always the guy to go to for some reason.
In actual fact, 7, he did say in his
he said
commentary
it. He said
it. did.
that
Yeah.
it was a selfish kind of
Exactly.
Okay.
suggestion from him because these people come to him and he helps them.
They go to
he
him
did
all the
say
time.
that.
Yeah, they go to him all the
He
time.
did
So
say
I
that.
definitely get where he's coming from with that. But at the end of the day, it has to be, like you were saying, more of a policy.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be freebies. Like I said, I personally would probably want it somewhere under a fund or initiative under Gumroad where we all contributed in a way to it. So
Okay.
it's not like any musician anywhere can just come and say I'm a musician, and we probably don't even know him. But if you're registered with Gumroad, there's a track record of you contributing.
And that's just for
somehow.
music. What becomes of those who are registered with ASO, Copy Ghana? Perhaps they also have a component.
So let's
for
have
them.
let's have similar things under it. But we definitely want to, just like SNIT. Like you guys can't
Yeah.
just wake up and go and get SNIT
Sure.
money if you don't contribute to it.
Yeah.
So it has to be something of that. So it shouldn't be a freebie.
I agree.
It definitely shouldn't be a freebie.
All right. Could you break on?
Yes, I think that since 2016,
Yeah.
I've heard John Mahama, keep retreating this issue of setting up of a fund. I think in 2016, getting to 2017, he was specific to say that he would love to see the NDC, if they come to power around that time, to have a provident fund.
Okay.
Now, if it's a provident fund, obviously we all know what a provident fund is. Again, the generation of the money into that fund is where we need to also, look at, steadily. Because again, even if you check the 1048, critically we're supposed to have a 1%, just like GTA is doing with 1% levy.
Yeah.
Because we've not, enforce the
Functionalize that
the law.
legislation. Yeah.
we are not able to take the 1% from our enterprises,
Okay.
just as GTA is doing to the enterprises.
Okay.
And it is creating a lot of, fund for the tourism
sector.
development fund that they have. Therefore, if Provident Fund will even be set up, as it is something that John Mahama seeks to do, and like Seven said, that it's something that he keeps doing. He did it to Super Odi. He did it recently to KK
So many
Kabobo
people.
before he demised and all that. So it is something that he feels it can be, it's possible that it can be done. But how do we do it? I believe that if we see the activeness of these two agencies that we have now,
Okay.
the NFA, which
Creative
would then tackle
Okay.
the aged actors and actresses. Then we want to see if that is because it's for film.
Okay.
And then if we want to see the general one, which is the 1048, looking at, beyond even actors and seeing to.
But actors should not be part of that if they have their own act.
That's what I'm saying, to see to the others. I think that Provident Fund and that dream of having it can be well positioned. Because again, like Kent said, listen, we've tried and tested funds in the system where it has not survived. Musica decided to do AMWEF. They decided to have a musical ball to
raise funds,
and then get it into the space to.
But they had money and they disbursed money to the aging musicians.
Yeah, they were. But how were they doing it? Again, it is money that needs to do business and get profit, so that you can get more money to do what you have to do. Now you ask yourself, where were they even saving? What were they using the money for? What job were they using it for? That the returns were even enough for them to be given to our monthly stipends to the old musicians and all that. Today, where is AMWEF? You get my point. We don't have it. You go to Gamro. Gamro in itself, the total setup doesn't allow, because it's a pure collective management organization, which should not even engage in issues of welfare and setting up certain funds out of the money that they get. It is unlawful. But seriously speaking, there's a section now that is taking care of this same aged musicians.
They have a welfare component.
A welfare component within the space. Trying to see to NHIS, trying to get a health, card and all those things for the same aged people and all that. So for me, if it's going to be set up and government is going to see to it to see that it works, we only pray that a committee that will be set up to do this particular Provident Fund just for the aging will be done very well this time around. Other than that, we will see ourselves falling into the same regime where we are now. So for me, it's possible. It can be done. It's just that two acts are there where the funds have not been given by the same government. You've heard Baumia talk about, we set up Creative Art Fund since 7 years ago. We've still not seen it. We have the NFA. There's a fund for movies. There's a fund to produce national-oriented movies. Where is the fund? We have not even pumped. Government has not even given a seed money to even start the whole thing. Now, what we're supposed to get the fund from was that when they do, then we would now start getting monies from, for instance, if it's the NFA, then classification and all those things, monies will have to be part of it, will have to be injected into the fund for it to be active. So there's a way of getting the money back into the system to really do the necessary things that it has to do. So setting up is not a problem, but keeping it and making it work is where the issue is.
Koyo, classification, Kwame, please, 1 second. Classification that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Back in the day, classification was the only source of income for the film sector, because people were bringing films for preview and classification before they put them out to sell. You could not put out films to sell if it had not been previewed and classified. And people were adhering to it. So there was a lot of monies being made from classification.
Okay.
Back in the day. When I was there. Now, with the advent of Act 935, a classification committee was set up within the authority. Right? But that classification committee now has no funds to fall on. There are no films being produced. The volumes of films that were produced back then have dropped to the extent that all films being produced are now either just produced for exhibition on the opening nights. What do they call those nights?
Which night?
Oh, what Lewindham did. What do they call it? Premiere.
Yeah.
At the theaters. But they do not go out on CDs or DVDs for sale.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the monies were made. Now, some of these films end up online. And the films online do not show us any amounts of monies that are made. So the authority does not make money from these people. Some of them don't even bother to bring the films for classification. You see where the problem is. So, source of funding for the fund, that source of funding, which was a mighty source, has now been cut out. People are now depending on donors and other sources that are not really available. Kwame. And talking about funding, you know, Mr. Mahama also made mention of to review the tourism fund to make sure it benefits stakeholders in the tourism value chain.
I wanted to comment on that.
Now, me sitting here, I don't know what that fund represents.
The Tourism Development Fund?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. And I don't know who are candidates for the fund.
It's for the tourism sector.
Yeah, I know it's for the tourism sector.
Yeah.
But he's saying that he wants to review.
Yes.
So it shows that
I agree for the review.
there is a problem with the way the funds are administered.
Yeah.
And I am saying that I don't know anything about that fund.
So we will get the reps from the various political parties to throw more light on this on a different episode of this program. So they will give us more explanation to the various things in their policy ideas.
Nice one.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. 055111197. Any question for us on this topic? We are examining Mahama's policy ideas for creative economy. Robert Clark is a creative entrepreneur. He's right here. Let's take his opinion on this one. Aging Artist Fund. Robert, good idea?
Yes, it is a good idea. That's one. Two, is it important? Yes, it's important. Three, is it urgent? Yes, it is urgent. But then I think that what we are saying is that the essence of taking care of the agent is important.
Good.
And the only thing we need to figure out is how to do it in a sustainable manner. So immediately one of the things that comes to mind is, why can't we learn from what we all do in the corporate sector? In the corporate sector, a strategy has been developed to take care of everybody who is with the formal sector. Let me put it that way, formal sector. You work, your company is responsible for taking a portion of your money, or your organization is responsible for making contribution for you, and that goes automatically to SNIT. The act responsible for this exists, and it is mandatory for organizations to do that. These are professions, and these are, professions that basically everybody goes to work every day, and this is a job, respectable, all of that. Can we elevate the conversation of the creatives to the level of it being a profession that can also contribute their quota to the pension scheme? So at the end of the day, when they're at a particular age, they would also be able to earn from whatever they have contributed. That's what I'm thinking of. Because what we have done with the formal sector makes it sustainable. And so because it almost feels like a fund is like a handout. You understand? Third world country, third world economy, don't have enough money. So the little that is available, we must make sure it goes round. But if we can plan well, what it means is that all the big monies you are getting today, over 20 years, 30 years, with some contributions taking place, you should be in a position to be able to earn from that once it is invested. And that's what everybody is doing. That's what all of us, like me and you seated here, any corporate organization, anybody who works in this particular space, that's what they're doing. So it's not like somebody is handing out something to someone. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm looking at us doing it in a way that's sustainable. Actually, that's what I'm thinking. So can we find a way for contributions, the state contributions, to become regular with respect to people of the creative space. That is one. Two, I know associations, one of the key areas of associations usually is welfare. And maybe that's one of the areas that we want to be able to focus on with respect to, taking care of the aged, making it sustainable. Because if you are making contributions in that particular space, obviously the welfare element should be handled. So that is another area I would ask for. Most of the times when we speak, we are talking about the musicians, but we know that there are several areas of the creative economy.
Exactly.
And how do you take care of everybody in that particular space? You understand? It's not just musicians, it's not just people who are actors, because it almost feels like we are dealing with people who are popular. But the creative space is not just for those who are popular. So let's make sure that at the end of the day, whatever we are proposing is able to cover everybody, some equity, some fairness, in that particular space. Because Kwame, if you go into what ONTAG's definition is in terms of people who play within the space, you are creative.
Yeah, we are.
It's heavy media, both new and old, all of them, they are in the space, and they are all classified as creatives. So I think that we should find a way to do that. And I also shared my experience with the folks from the Kapaso Samro people when I had conversations with them. Their collections, they found a way to be able to have contributions to pension schemes.
Yeah.
So what it means is that because of that contribution, it's easier for you to be able to benefit of, And then we should also explore the elements of health insurance, since health is one of the, cost of health is one of the key areas when you age. So those are the things I'm thinking of. And let's be a bit preemptive. Let's go back. Let's see how we can prevent it from happening, in a very sustainable way. So it's not like, we are putting too much wahala on government. We should find a way that makes it automatic. Then it becomes way easier. These are my thoughts, though.
Thank you very much. And again, we have a lot. And again, we have a lot. And again, 1 minute.
I beg you. You see what Robert just said?
Yeah.
I ask myself that we, the creatives, are we becoming too entitled?
No.
In our demands.
No.
Right? Because you see, every time you bring about the state or a president or an ex-president helping someone, it has to do with somebody from the creatives. Okay? So you're saying to me that me as a public servant or a civil servant who has worked 30, 40 years and I am suffering somewhere, I do not get anybody to speak for me.
Maybe because we are in the limelight.
Exactly. And this is my problem, because I think that's not fair.
But Uncle Ken, we can speak
I'm
for
not
ourselves.
going any further. I've just said my
We
piece.
can only speak for ourselves. All right, Joe 99.7 FM. Now let's go to the next policy idea from the NDC. This one is rehabilitation of the National Theatre.
We would rehabilitate the National Theatre. It is currently in a poor state, and we'll rehabilitate the National Theatre. And depending on the availability of funds, that's what I'm saying, when you're making promises, you have to be careful about the state of the economy, because previously we promised in our manifesto, and we're going to repeat it in this manifesto, that we'll build a second National Theatre in Kumasi. We'll rehabilitate all the centers of national arts and culture. Many of them are in a deplorable state. We'll refurbish them so that they'll be made available to the creative arts for any shows, any exhibitions, or anything that you want to do in the regions.
Okay. Joe 99.7 FM. You just heard that policy idea from John Dramani Mahama, presidential candidates for the NDC. Let me start with 7, Xavier. 7. National Theatre, wahala.
Well, so we are talking for all creatives, not just
Yes.
music. So
Yes.
Good idea. Because I think overall it's still a much needed space, not just for musicians but other creatives in the country. But I think when it comes to music per se, or when you want to look at the bigger picture, I would love to have an arena, a proper arena, because most of these A-list artists are definitely beyond national
The
theatre
National
capacity.
Theatre?
And the national theatre cannot even attract other, let's say, foreign acts. Or
It cannot hold Grammy Africa.
it can't. There's no way. So I mean, the world is advancing so fast. We are still trying to hold on to like old things that, like right now, really are not that relevant right now. Like we need to look bigger, have bigger ideas, aim bigger, and hopefully we'll probably catch up to the rest of the world. But yeah, it should be renovated. Like I said, it's for other creatives will definitely have a use for it. Up and coming artists, maybe artists with like smaller fan bases and stuff like that. Or you can even have maybe exhibitions and other things happening there.
The theater.
Students from Legona. I think their theater is not even in operation right now.
Yeah.
So they can also use that. And but if we're talking for music specifically, and maybe even some sports and stuff like that, we need an arena where we can probably host like an NBA Africa. We can hold bigger shows.
When?
Beyonce coming over. Like it has to be the hub that we want to create as entertainment hub being Ghana. We need to have bigger ideas than National Theatre. It's not going to work.
All right, 7 Xavier is
I actually have a
president
proposal for the location for the arena.
Oh, where?
National Cathedral.
You want trouble? National Cathedral. Could you break it down, Kwa?
Yes, National Theatre.
Yes.
Kwame, this it's one of the things that when you talk about it, it becomes more or less like you're doing politics, but we'll do politics with
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Why? We've had National Theatre face or had its own, space, i.e., taking it out of National Commission on Culture
Okay.
and making it an agency
Okay.
to specifically deal with issues when it comes to National Theatre. I'm one person who have said that we should crash some of the agencies and just take it back to National Commission on Culture to work. As we speak, we have 13 agencies.
Yeah.
All these agencies are taking funds from Ministry of Tourism and Culture. What are they?
Some of them
using
perform
it
the
for?
same functions.
Exactly. National Theatre has gone through serious issues back to back. Recently, I went there, carpet poor, chairs bad, worse.
Oh, the carpet they changed a few months ago.
I was there for the
George Quay's play.
Folkless Media Awards.
Oh, okay, Folkless. Oh, that's
I was there.
3 weeks ago.
I saw chairs, tables. I was there when George Quay was going to, have his thing. I went there to see George. I was at the theater. I saw it bad, poor. So I asked myself, what are we doing to really elevate the purpose of the theater the Chinese people came to build? Let me give you a story.
Yeah.
In 2004, who was in power? The MPP?
Yeah.
In the same 2004 that we had a cultural policy activated.
Okay.
31st January.
Yeah.
Good. 30th of November 2004, National Theatre was shut down for renovation. A whopping $1.5 million was injected into renovating the National Theatre you see today.
And was it renovated?
I don't know. But the Chinese provided, and I repeat,
as a gift,
1.5 million. And if we want to know the people who were there, we can mention names. What has happened to it? National Theatre, under this present people, came with, withdraw the box, a 5-year plan. Okay? A 5-year plan.
That's all you have here?
Yes, that's what I have. Strategic plan 2019 to 2023. This is what they said.
Yeah.
Let me read to you what the board chairman,
Nana Fredri Ajiman.
thank you,
Okay.
said about renovation and expansion. If indeed we really wanted to expand, just as Nigeria has done in Lagos, with that thing that I saw on YouTube with the police station,
Fantastic.
with that activation that they are doing, You had a plan, and the only renovation you're looking at for is the headquarters of National Theatre. And I can read it. This is what he said in their own 2019 to 2023 plan, 2013. Name withdraw the box. It's unfortunate that we've sat down to see National Theatre deplete like we don't have what it takes to hold on to our culture, just as the Japanese would do with theatre. They value theatre. So for me, when I heard Mr. Mahama saying that, oh, they will renovate it,
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, this one, we'll put our eyes in there. We want to see the renovation done well,
Yeah.
which I believe it will happen.
You believe?
Yes, I believe.
Is it the first time the NDC is promising giving the
No,
National
their
Theatre a
track
facelift?
records I have seen that has been done that I feel that this one can be as possible.
Okay.
Okay, so it has to be done. Now, moving to the cultural centers that
Yeah, the
we're talking
regional
about.
centers.
Yes,
Yeah.
very unfortunate again that once upon a time we had Dr. Baumia touting that they built a theater in Koforidua, which was a renovation of the National Commission on Culture
Yeah.
in Koforidua. But we were terming it as one of the theaters that were built. The same ministry between 2018 gave letters of commencement to contractor to start renovating these same centers that Mr. Mahama is talking about. A total amount of almost about 30 billion Ghana cedis
All the regional
for all the regional centers.
centers. You have the documents?
Yes. Read. This is one of it. Here. Approval has been given to you. The company's name is, I don't want to mention, to commence work on the completion and refurbishment of the Ashanti Regional Theatre in Kumasi. I'm talking 2018, 16 September. This is the document. A whooping sum of 30 billion was injected in the renovation. That was when you found the deputy, then the Northerner,
Dr.
Ziblim, even calling for the essence of renovating these things when they were still talking about building ultra-modern theaters. What happened to him? They sacked him.
Oh, no. Are you very sure? Do you have...
But where is he?
Do you,
How
do you
did
have
he
proof?
go? How did he
He
go?
was reshuffled or he was taken...
There was no reshuffle around that
Okay,
time.
he was...
What was the reshuffle for?
He was
Where
replaced.
it?
He was replaced.
Replaced by who?
By the president. He was
Thank
replaced.
you.
So
he
that
was
means sacked.
I don't think sack is the right word. Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're replaced, you were
Okay.
sacked.
No, I don't. I think sack means perhaps you were not performing. Yes, yeah, pamu. But he was replaced.
Whichever way it is. He was not there.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
We've gone through that series of thing where I feel this time around we need to see reality with this projects we're talking about. Because again, if the current government has injected this amount of money, giving contractor monies, and then you turn around to come and tell me you are building amphitheaters in the name of completing, not doing your ultra modern, but building amphitheaters, when the same government has given letters of commencement for renovating of Ashanti region, for instance, their theater. What kind of double standard? Western region, Volta region, everything, all the letters are here. And the same people come back with another set of money in which 2024, the budget, they still proposed in it. We had almost about 1.7 billion or so for tourism, art and culture. They are telling us that they want to use part of the money, a whooping sum of the money, to build 5 amphitheaters this year. It is in the budget. When they went to defend the budget. What are you telling us? What kind of child's play is this? I think that we should be more sensitive to some of these things that are really happening around us. I feel that politics that we've played with these centers has become too much. If these centers are there since Kufuor's era,
Yeah.
Honasam in Western region, former minister, around that time, it's only NAFAC that brings them to be renovating some of these centers.
All right.
So for me, when I heard him say that they're going to renovate these ones, I was like, oh, thank God. This time, it is not going to be a renovation where if we're going to have NAFAC, that is when we'll go to renovate some of these centers. But it is going to be an agenda that they're going to have these renovations done. I think it's kudos.
But the NDC has always had this particular provision in their manifesto.
Sure.
For the past 12, 8 years. It's always featured in their manifesto.
Sure. I think in 2016, I think it featured.
Yeah.
But they didn't come to power, I think so. I don't
Okay.
know. I think 2016 they
Okay.
didn't come to power. So
Before I come to Robert and I come to Uncle Ken, please listen to this. I had an interview with a technical officer or a state officer of the National Theatre about 2 years ago.
2 years.
Yes, about 2 years ago regarding the state of the AC. The state
I remember
of the
the story
AC.
you did.
Yes,
It brought you issues.
the state of the AC.
I
And if you
remember.
go in there and you have issues with the AC, this is one of the reasons for that.
At the time that it was established, it was a system that was running. It's almost 30 years now. So, but now it's outmoded, and the way it is, it's difficult to even get the parts, the motors or the fans to even do any. If you want to do any replacement or change anything, just as my madam was saying earlier, you have to go onto the market look out for before you are able to get a specific part to bring in. Before doing the replacement. So it's a very difficult situation.
So this was an interview that I had with Welbeck Tamaklo, who is the state officer at the National Theatre, regarding the poor state of the AC, and he was talking to me about the facility, the whole equipment that they need to change and how difficult it is for them to get it. They need to go to China. The equipment are outdated, outmoded, and all that. Now let me come to Robert's class. So still on National Theatre and John Mahama's promise to renovate or rehabilitate the National Theatre in Accra, build another one in Kumasi possibly, and then also renovate the various regional centers for national culture. Robert, Kla.
I'd like to start once again by asking, is it necessary? Yes. Is it needed? Yes. Is it important? Yes. It's even urgent. You understand? But mine is about three things, really. Let's get into the space of sustainability.
Okay.
Maintenance culture. If we had structures or we had ideas for maintenance culture woven into everything that we had that belonged to the states, we wouldn't be here discussing this by now. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because then it's already, because you see, wear and tear is always part of everything we do. Anybody who does projection, if you are working with a particular facility, whatsoever, you plan for that. So mine is what has been the plan with respect to maintaining the venue. And that's one of the things we need to weave into it, so it is part and parcel of its planning. Revenues are coming in, some set aside, whatsoever, planned, scheduled at a particular time. The intervals are, on point. I remember when we were young, there used to be something that instead of saying town council, we used to call it tankas.
Tankas.
And even though you are living in your own home, you were obliged to keep the place clean because tankasi bimba. You understand? They would come, they would inspect, and by virtue of the fact that tankasi
Oba meet tankas.
tankasi be.
Oba meet tankas.
So they would come, they would inspect, and by virtue of that, you will be up and doing. You understand what I'm saying? Can we have an independent body responsible for checking on the various venues that belongs to the state? Look, sometimes you watch like Yankee situation, you see people who go and inspect like restaurants.
Yeah.
Even though it's yours, they'll come, they'll check the place, and then they'll evaluate you, and then at the end of the day, if you meet the standard, they'll pass you. If you don't meet the standard, you have to ensure that you change the necessary things to change, because the place has to be clean, hygienic, and all of that kind of stuff. We need people who just go to these venues and say, well, my job is to inspect and find out if you guys are keeping the place clean and neat and maintenance is happening, of some sorts. I think that if we are able to use that particular concept, it would help greatly, because you see, national, for as long as we have the name national on that particular structure,
Yeah.
I think that it has to make sense. It has to If I look like the nation,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know how
It
to
should be
capture
national.
It should be. It should
in the
it should-
sense of the word.
It should, yeah, like it should look the part. It cannot be national and be in a deplorable state. It just doesn't speak well of us as a nation. So I think that for me should be done. Now, one last area that I'm concerned about is they should also go ahead to look for alternative venues
Good.
for us when the rehabilitation is happening.
Okay.
Refurbishment, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Once it is happening, because you see, that venue serves a lot of the industry activities. So whether it's theater, whether it's music, whether it's dance, whatsoever, it's happening in a particular space. And when it is theater.
Yeah.
So when it is no more, when it is closed down, well, I don't know how long it's going to be, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, whatsoever.
Grand Arena.
So we need to be able to get alternative venues that can help us. Otherwise, Charlie, and I'm saying that in relation to cost and all of that. So those are some of the things. Those are my immediate concerns, because I can't imagine the fact that people who actually use the space don't have an alternative venue to use.
And they possibly building another one in Kumasi.
Yeah, is it needed? For me, yes, we need these things, especially things where we can't do for ourselves. But for as long as the budget permits, obviously the details about it and where the money went to and all of that has been discussed. So I'm not really. Mine is, it's needed. Yes, it is needed.
Good.
If it's built, yes, we love it. We would want to have it. But let's incorporate the maintenance culture into the whole project so that we don't get to these points.
Great. Uncle Ken, National Theatre
Kwame,
to be renovated.
I would also answer yes to all the questions Robert posed at the beginning of his submission. I would also answer yes to all those questions. But there's always a but. And the but involves nothing other than money. And I am very happy that in President Mahama's submission of wanting to renovate the National Theatre, he ended up by saying, with the caveat, if there is enough money.
The caveat is for the Kumasi one.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the Kumasi
Yes,
one.
yes.
If that he wanted
For the
to
Accra
build-
one,
the
he
Accra
will
one,
do
he
it.
said they will.
But the Kumasi one, depending on availability
Availability
of
of
funds,
funds.
he will build another one in
Okay.
Kumasi.
It was the Kumasi one that
Yes,
he
one more
said.
caveat.
Okay.
Into one year,
Now,
not just say.
with the-
You
Now-
can't hold him to it.
now with the Accra National Theatre,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know whose term. I don't look out for those things. I don't know whose term of office it was when.
Rawlins's when it was built.
No, I know it was built
Okay, sorry.
during Chairman Rawlins's time. But I do remember
Okay.
a few years back, there was the need for maintenance
Okay.
of the place. And the response we had, I don't know if it was from the National Theatre themselves or whoever, that it had to take the Chinese themselves to come to Ghana and renovate the place. So there were discussions around that time with the Chinese to get them to come to Ghana and do the so-called renovation. None of you remembers this?
I do. I remember.
Okay. Was it the same year you mentioned?
Kojo, you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, there was. I can't remember exactly when, but there was
Okay.
talk of the Chinese coming to Ghana to renovate. It never happened.
No.
It never happened. Now, the National Theatre, as an institution, like they have always wanted to tell us, is not only that edifice
Good.
that we see
Yes.
as the exhibition place. The National Theatre involves
The
a
symphony
lot of
orchestra with
Yes.
the Groma, and it's a,
Yeah.
a whole institution.
a whole institution. The monies the National Theatre make goes into the consolidated fund.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So they cannot utilize all the monies that they make by themselves. They need to put in requisitions and stuff like that. So they have an issue there. And that is, for me, part of the problem with the upkeep of the place. It's a major problem for the upkeep of the place. I am very happy that President Mahama talks about renovating the place because it needs renovation. Everybody agrees to that. There is nobody that knows the National Theatre or uses the National Theatre for their programs that would say the place does not need major renovations. So I am happy that the place would be renovated under President Mahama's tenure. My issue with the Kumasi place, Robert also made the point about the period of renovation and getting somewhere else a replacement theater where people in the meantime could also stage their productions. The show must go on, Robert. I agree with you 100%. Now, knowing our country and knowing how long it takes to renovate a place, it could be a year or over before that renovation is completed, because there are no funds set in stone for that renovation. Works will carry on as and when funds are available. And knowing our country, it can take a very long time. I understand. I don't know how true, because I haven't bothered to check. Kojo can tell me. I understand that in the meantime, there is an amphitheater being put in place.
And one
in Accra.
One in Accra, one in Kumasi.
Yes, I'm coming to that, in Accra. If that is so, the amphitheaters that are being put in place, I understand, have a maximum of about 1,000 patrons at a time. That's not as big as the theater, but at least something. The same is happening in Kumasi. Is it not? Yes. Those amphitheaters must be completed before any renovations or buildings of other theaters can take place. I think that is what we should be looking at.
Okay.
Because we do need the theaters. And in the meantime, as the theaters are being put in place, there should be elsewhere that we can exhibit our productions and stuff like that. So as for me, when it comes to the theaters, I'm all for the renovation.
Good.
But I would always ask for these other places to be ready, so that as the renovations are going on, at least people can still do business.
All right, Uncle King there, 055-1111-997. We're looking at the NDC's policy ideas for the creative economy. Yes, and they have mentioned lots of them, about 22. We'll be looking at a few. We've done 3 or 2 already. We have a long way to go.
You have 22.
Let's zap through them now. Since we're talking about performance centers, let's do this one.
We'll make the Black Star Square available to you. If you have a big show and you feel you can fill the Black Star Square, we'll give it to you to go and do your performance. And so we'll give special rates to the creative arts for any performance you want to have. If it's the International Conference Center, the National Theatre, the Black Star Square, the Center for National Culture, all will be giving at special rates, low enough so that you make enough money for yourselves.
All right, so you heard ex-President Mahama there talking about giving special rates to people who perform at the various centers, the Black Star Square, Accra International Conference Center, and all those places. Let me start with Robert Clark. Robert, again, good idea.
Questions? You're making it easy for us to be able to do shows. You're offering the venue to us. Already the venue's been offered. If you're going to give us some nice rates, why not? We love it. So, yes. This is straight to the point. Is it necessary? Yes. Is it important? Yes, because at the end of the day, you know, there's cost for organizing these events, and so if you are going to shed off some of the cost or carry some of the cost for us, I mean, why not? So I think it's a good idea. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, then let me get to 7 Xavier. They're going to give performers special rates if they use the various government-owned performance centers.
No, performance centers.
Yes.
Including any of the like National Theatre.
Yeah. That's what he said. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
Was like Black Stars.
Black Stars.
Oh no, he
Yeah,
mentioned, other
places. Yeah.
And we thank God.
Well, yeah, definitely a good idea. But like I said, we want an arena, a proper big
Simple as that.
arena. The rest are jokes.
Yeah.
In this day and age,
seven.
yeah, no, they are. No, because you have, they don't. Look at Kigali. I don't even know one runner artist, but look at what they have. And everything is Grammy is going there, NBA is going, everything is going there. We are joking.
Yeah, I get you. So you mean we need extras?
I just need an arena. Just need an arena.
I want to appreciate it.
Charlie, let's
Was
go.
it
Let's go hard
arena?
or go home.
I agree.
Let's go hard or go home.
I agree.
National Theatre. Listen, Charlie, no. Let's give us the good one, big one. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it'll definitely bring more revenue than all these other ones that we are playing around
Maybe
with.
the theatre car should be named Regional Theatre.
Which one?
Which one?
Like national, no. They are expecting, you know.
I mean, we greater Accra, so yeah, regional.
Yeah, you know,
All right,
like,
all right.
national, they feel like
But seven. Would you advocate for government to put up that edifice that you're talking about?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
me,
he's always advocating
I'm
for that.
scared of government putting up these things
I'll-
and running them.
Government has to do it.
I would definitely say they should probably have the private sector come in. Like,
Sector.
I'm definitely sure it's just something
Yes.
like MTN or
Yes.
some of these other companies can come on board.
All right.
You know, you name the arena after one of the telcos, whoever puts up a lot of money for like 10 years. We name it after the entity, and then we'll basically try to run it properly, not
Yes.
with government, but definitely government will be in there somewhere. You know, but at least. But see, it's unfortunate we can't escape the government, so we should.
We can't.
We can't. So we should definitely try to get them to do the right thing, at least for us. That things that will benefit us.
Could you pray with Dankwa?
Yeah.
I mean, the land that we
What's
need for
up?
it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the
I
land that we
agree.
need for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the national whole. I
Okay.
mean, we just-
But running it, no.
not running. No, definitely not running it.
All right.
But the land that we need.
Kojo.
Kwame, I think it's a brilliant idea. It is one of the best things that I've ever heard. I think that given it that
Kojo?
push, yes,
Repeat
I-
what you just said.
I'm saying that giving government centers, venues owned by government, and giving them
Special rates.
that special rate,
rates.
it's
Okay.
brilliant. It's one of the brilliant things that I've ever seen. I mean, heard. I mean, it's something that we even continue to push even Jerry to give flat rate for events. You understand? If Jerry today comes to tell us that they're giving the flat rate for all events, which I feel creative arts agencies should have done that if it was active to push and fight for the creatives, it would have been much better. So starting with the special rate, and obviously government as we speak now owns too many event centers, not private anyway. So if they have and they're going to give special rate, I think it's going to help the industry.
All right. Thank you, Joe 99.7 FM. There are a number of them here. I think
You haven't asked me.
I haven't. I haven't come to you.
No.
Oh, how come?
But Philip Hazi.
Oh, Uncle Ken, how come? Oh. Maybe when you ask the question, I yes.
I only contributed to something.
Don't mind me at all.
But Kojo just made a point about this initiative being the best thing that he's ever had.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. But I ask myself, apart from the creatives, who else is going to utilize these government places? Apart from creatives, who else
Churches.
is going to utilize?
Women are
Che-
glue and all
churches.
those people. They will utilize
They are all creatives.
conferences,
Yeah.
conventions,
They are-
Pentecost.
yeah.
I said
No,
They are all-
Churches are creative.
spiritual creatives.
Yes,
I agree.
they are all creatives. So my issue is, like you've just said, if the spiritual people are going to organize an event and go to
The
rent, are
convention
they also
and all.
going to get rebates for the usage of the venues?
For their conventions.
Yeah. Are they also going to get
we
rebates?
the creative people don't care about them.
So you see, when you say creatives will get rebates for the usage of government-owned
Yeah,
Venues.
venues, who does it cover?
creatives.
And who are creatives?
We. And who are we?
But you see, what the question is asking is very important.
It's a very important
Because
question.
at the end of the day, most of the things that happen within the space are not organized by creatives. They are organized by
Thank you.
businesses within the sector.
Ah.
So we have creatives, we have the businesses that enable the creative
Creatives.
industry.
Right.
And they are the ones who literally do all of these things. So again, it's just about, I think in line with what you're saying, it has to be with people who would register with a particular agency, so they are recognized, and therefore by virtue of the fact that they are recognized, it is easier for them to gain access and have
Thank you.
reduced rates in terms of the
But
units.
I think
but
they
in terms
would have-
I think the principle
Right.
is sweet.
It's sweet.
It's just about
Perfect.
figuring it out.
It's about
figuring how-
implementation
yeah,
and
how to
who
implement it.
can be part of it.
Okay.
Now, in line with that, Mr. Mahama also went ahead to say he was going to give tax incentives to creatives who had their things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
We will
Did he
come
not
there.
say
Yeah,
that?
he did.
We will
Yes.
come there. You just
Oh, so that's a
flash.
different.
Yes,
Oh,
that's-
I think
yes.
that since it's
Yeah,
mentioned,
Fantastic.
let's just,
Okay, you continue. continue. You've gone there, so let's continue fast.
And again,
Yeah.
I said to myself, the creatives that are going to use these venues and have tins are obviously supposed to pay taxes anyway. And now we're going to give the creatives incentives from the payment of taxes.
Yeah.
And I would always advocate for that. But then that means that the government institutions are going to somehow be devoid of revenue that if it was not for that intervention, they would get. Already, we have issues where government places revenue without tax incentives are suffering to keep the places afloat. This is my reason for saying I do not like government putting their noses too much into our affairs. Because this is private sector driven. And private sector driven means enough funds to be able to maintain the places and all that. When we give all these incentives to these people, are we going to get enough funds to maintain? We are the same people who will come back and say the places are rotten. That's my worry. I don't like government poking their noses too much into private sector driven ventures. That's my
Uncle
issue.
Ken, we've always been complaining about we needing these breaks. You know, it's been one of the conversations we had all these years. And now they are promising, telling us the idea they have in that regard. Shouldn't we be happy?
Kwame, if you have people get tax incentives, you do your books, you send your books out there, your books are scrutinized, and it is seen that this and that and that and that and that is what you did. Already there are tax incentives for certain categories of businesses that we do. But if we're going to go across board, because if you say that creatives with tin will get, it means every single creative that has a tin. That's my worry.
Okay.
I am not against it. I would always be for those who merit it.
All right.
But when it comes to the realities, I get a bit worried if we want to spread our tentacles to cover everybody. That is my only issue.
Okay. Robert Clark.
Yeah. So mine is that for every economy, areas that are suffering and need some form of support, that is where government comes in to be able to shore them up, to cushion them. And I think that's one of the things that is happening right now. In areas that are extremely comfortable, obviously, then you are not in that particular space injecting money. But areas where people, because you see, the creative economy needs help. And that's the reason why you want government to be able to provide some form of support. So yes.
What sort of help do you need?
Financial.
How?
Money
is given to you
no,
to
not
do what you
necessarily
want.
given to us, because for me, I would advocate for the monies to be given to the businesses that run the economy. You understand? Because for sometimes you go for these meetings and you don't find the businesses that run the creative economy present.
Right.
And it's always worries me, because you see, the creative would do their bit by creating, but they all know that they need somebody who invests in the businesses responsible for production, distribution, marketing, and all the other elements to be able to run the project so that they would benefit. So when there are meetings like that and those people are missing, it's worrying.
Yeah.
Because for them, they wake up every morning and evening and their plan is, how do we enable the creative
Because the
industry?
creatives are going to fall on them.
Exactly, you understand. So then how do you deal with the creatives without the business that run it? Because it's show business. You are discussing those who give us a show, but not those who run the business aspect. So for me, that's one of the key areas that I think that we need to be able to enable. So if you empower these people, if it's a record label, the record label can go from a small indie label to becoming a huge label that can take multiple artists and be able to manage, rather than focusing on an artist, so to say, because a label is focused on the entire value chain, that kind of stuff. So this is just an example, but it's in that same vein, it runs through. So we need to be able to empower people or more businesses within the space to run the various elements of the value chain, so to say, so that they can support the entire economy in terms of value being exchanged from one point to the other. That's what I think is missing. So for me, in line with Uncle Ken's points, yes, we need government to come in, but they should enable those that can create the ripple effect we are looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Agree.
7. So we came here proffering ideas. We spoke about tax incentives, tax breaks, and here we are. They've mentioned it in their policy ideas. Your take?
I support it too, just like I mentioned a few weeks ago. But just like Uncle Ken said, some of these things implementing is a bit tricky. Implementing is a bit tricky. But I also have to mention that I think the people who put this together did not look at the creative arts, the creative act. Was it the new one?
The 1048.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did not look at it, because most of these things have been somehow captured.
In it.
And I was part of the committee, so like we've sat down for hours, about 7 days we took to come up with certain ways to go around these things. I definitely must admit it's not perfect, and I wish we could maybe fine tune it now, because this was 2020, 4 years ago.
That's right. 4 years ago. Things have changed.
Things have changed so much. Like we need to maybe have another.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So we probably need to sit down again and fine tune it a bit, to me. But some of these things, and the thing with, the 10 numbers are not even a thing now. You only need a Ghana card. So
don't say 10 numbers. 10.
Sorry, 10. Sorry, Uncle Ken. So the tens, the tens are not even a thing now. That we have Ghana cards now. So so that is even. But I just hope we can track some of these, because I definitely want the industry to be tracked properly, so we know where the money is coming from, where it's going, because not all of us are begging for money, because that's what it seems to every government. Exactly. These beggars, and even on that day that Mahama had the thing, I saw a lady come talking about when he has given cars and things
now
to people, so now she wants. It was so embarrassing, very, very embarrassing. But the funny thing was, everybody in the room was actually clapping and cheering it up.
Yeah.
And I said, I thought that was the lowest point of the whole thing. But that's the only video that I've seen. It's like that was the highlight of it. It was embarrassing, very embarrassing, because they shouldn't be looked at as the industry being just beggars. I just really would like to see it elevated to a point where it's a business. The same way you look at you treat people like in the transport business or financial businesses and all these things. You treat the same, do the same, because in other, like I think Mahama said it by saying, like, most other countries, entertainment is like
he said
the thing.
Yes.
That's what brings
And that was
money
a
in.
brilliant point.
Yeah.
That's a very brilliant point that he said.
Outside, they make the most money.
They make the most money.
But check this out though. Why the tin? Isn't it because they are looking to also broaden their tax bracket?
Exactly.
Exactly. So we are
Exactly.
saying that at the end of the day, if you are giving, you are contributing, then you get into this bracket.
Yeah.
That makes you earn
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever
The chance of
incentive that's
yes,
supposed to come.
of an incentive.
Which
That's right.
makes perfect sense.
Oh, it
Because
makes
I
sense.
think we need to get to the point where everybody's contributing their quota.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the.
All right.
It makes a lot of sense, Robert. Yeah.
Kojo Preko.
So Kwame, now you understand my fight with 1048.
Yeah.
You understand my fight with Jankroma now. Simply because, I mean...
You and your sister.
Yes, you know why? Robert says something that
Yeah.
speaks to it, that we need an institution that will have to then put all of us and register us. Okay? And that is what the 1048 is supposed to do. Register all the enterprises under the creative art. Then the tax breaks and tax incentives that Mr. Mahama is proposing would have been much easier.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's captured in there. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, for us not to activate what Sylvia Dems did, then now makes the whole system looks a little bit like we're now going to start afresh, and that is why I have a challenge, because we have done something unique from 2020, which I believe that if we had given ourselves the executive secretary had the board, okay, because that same law had said that if you read the last page, it tells you that after the law has been passed, the act, any enterprise that is not registered with the institution or the creative arts agency is seen illegal in operating. So like Robert is saying, for instance, if Charter House, which is a business, dealing with the creatives, making sure creatives get what they need, are not registered, it is illegal operating now.
Yeah.
They mean that millions of us, companies and businesses that works within the creative arts are working illegal.
record labels. And all that.
Record labels, everybody. So that is where my fight has always been, that let's push that we get this thing done. Then, like he's saying, within the space of 4 years, things have changed. Would we have gone to Parliament again for LI, see the board sit and review some of the things to suit the current situation that we are in, so that we can then move into that particular space? Then we'll be comfortable.
Good.
That has always been my fight. It is not because I want to fight the lady. It is because of this same tax incentive thing that we're talking about. Because for us to move on this one, creative art agency needs to work so that we can have creatives go there and attend to their issues. Other than that, we will not see anything coming out from whatever it is that any politician or any party will bring to us and say they want to give us any incentives and all that. It will not work until creative arts agency is activated.
Joy 99.7 FM. There was another promise on DTT TV channel.
On the DTT, the Digital Terrestrial Television Network, we will acquire a special channel for the creative arts. It will be an events channel, and you can display all your works there. If you have a big show, like Stoneboy is performing, or Amanziba is performing, or somebody is performing, and you have a big show, or many of you are performing on a big show, we would have the technology to make that show payable. So even though it will be on the DTT, you have to pay with electronic, and then you'll be given a code, and then this thing will show it. Because we want you to earn money from the tickets. Right now, you earn money only from the tickets. But everywhere, more money is made from viewership than from ticket sales. And outside, if you have cable TV, you can watch all kinds of things. When there is a big match, you have to pay the cable to be able to watch that big match. And so when you have a big show, or you have something very important, we would close the channel, and you have to use your Momo to send some money to be able to watch it. And that money will go to the artists and others who are performing.
Okay, so a TV channel for events.
Mr.
Seven.
Mahama, that particular one should be scrapped. Thank you.
just that.
Just be scrapped. No, it's not a good idea. Let a private company do some sort of streaming service or something, or have its own DTT channel to run this. This is not government
Robert
domain
Clark.
at all.
Robert
So
Clark.
please scrap it. It's a good idea for a business.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Very good idea for us.
Okay.
we thank him for the business idea, but it's not government.
Did you agree with Seven?
Well, so the idea in itself is good for as long as you're making money. But I think that where Seven is coming from is whether government should get into the nitty-gritties. You know, so we have like if you take the state-owned, you know, the
Broadcaster.
GTV elements and stuff like that. Is this something that they are going to introduce from their angle? It would be nice for them to be able to capture this as one of their objectives going forward, you know, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, the idea in itself, like as mentioned, it's just like what is happening to the DSTV platform, really, where people are paying money and then being able to view stuff. So the concept is not bad. But I just think that in terms of focus and look, I think there is a government agency that at the end of the day should be able to, you know, run with that.
Kujo?
Concept good. I think they should involve the PPP in getting into the space, because in 2018 we had Katrina Feku telling us about tourism TV. Again, like they're saying, government got into the space.
Ajako was supposed to have his own TV.
Lumba TV.
The government got into the space and it became a problem. So for this one, I wish that, yes, like we all say, it's a good idea, but I think we should involve the PPP into it and see it happening. If the channel is going to be given by government, I mean, which of course NCA and all those people hold it as government, and they give it out, and then they make sure that the private entity see to it and make it work effectively, I think it's the best thing that will happen.
All right, let's talk film a bit. Yes, I have on the line Peter Sedufia. Peter, if you're on, please listen to this for me. It's a film village promise.
And for a film village. And the intention was to set up a village with sets where producers could go and produce their films. And the village was supposed to have cameras, sound equipment, lights, everything. So that it will be a one-stop shop for film production. We're going to pursue that dream and establish that film village. And you'll be able to get equipment at low cost so that you don't have to go and hire equipment at very high cost from private people. You have the equipment to shoot your film and everything. If you don't have money to pay, we'll let you stand down home. And then when you exhibit... And then when you exhibit your film and you make something, you can come and pay the film village a little so that we can continue to make it available to you.
All right, so you just heard ex-president John Mahama talking about a film village. Now, on the phone now is filmmaker Peter Sedufia. Peter, good afternoon.
Hey, afternoon, Kwame. How are you?
We're doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Good afternoon to everyone listening and to your panelists in the studio.
Great. So even before I pick your thoughts on the film village, what's your general impression about the promises or the policy ideas laid down by ex-president John Mahama?
For me, I think that there are good stuff, some good stuff in there, and there are some things too that I thought are not too thought through. I don't know how to put it. It's like, okay, you are meeting the creative people. You need to tell them what they want to hear, and even though you're not going to details, just touch on this, touch on that, and the lack of details also makes the whole thing hanging. It's just like, is this a fully fledged idea, or they are just throwing it about for us to hold on to something? I just felt that if it is three things you want to do and you develop the details of it and communicate with the people, it's it starts to gain more grounds down, trying to throw a lot of ideas around, and it's like we don't know which one to hang on to. And now you so that okay, now everything is just about throwing ideas in there for us to feel like okay, something is being taught about us, and that is how I feel about the whole thing. And like I said, there are some good stuff in there, but I just feel that it's when I was listening, I was like, okay, now this is becoming too much. Okay, now this is becoming too much. Okay, then I felt okay, now it's just someone who probably knows a bit of what we need and decided to jot them down as pointers and say touch on them or talk about them and sort of them, but they are not detailed enough. Yes.
So, to you, which ones do you think we need the most?
Kwame, with the film sector, to be honest with you, I think that we just need access to a pool of funds, okay? And I keep saying this, that it doesn't have to be even the government. It doesn't have to be government, but I just feel that if some incentives are given to some banks that want to support the creative industry, just like they are trying to do it with a 24-hour economy idea. I've listened to some of the things they said about it, where people that have endeavored to go into that venture would be given some tax rebates and some kind of incentives to propel them to do that. I think that if some banks or financial institutions are also giving similar incentives, they would be willing to give filmmakers the ability to pitch for funds to finance their project. And once we do that, we are going to return the money to them and even make profit that will enable us making the next film. And trust me, those same banks would even be the ones to be funding a private entity to even establish that film village that they are talking about. That it doesn't have to be government where bureaucracy will be a thing, and it gets to a point that it becomes so politicized that you have to have someone in power to be able to access it. You know, of course, if government does it, it's good. Like Kwame Nkrumah did the Ghana film, industry. It would have been so good that way. But another circumstance, if the budget is not there for government, just putting incentives in place for this financial institution to identify this opportunity to invest in would be so good for us. I mean, people are doing it, like our brothers in the other industries have the Bank of Industry, which is meant to, if I say our brothers, I'm talking about the Bank of Industry, which supports the film industry and other creative stuff. So I think that is what we should be looking at, rather trying to, and of course, if banks are supporting creative, it doesn't mean that once you come there, they know they should need to show them what your financials are going to look like, how you pretend to make money from the cinema to pay back the loan and make some profit on top. All these things are things that people need to learn. And if anything at all that we need to even inculcate into the creative space is all the creative institute that he wants to create, like the music school, and if there's already now there's even GIG and all sort of things. They should also teach them the business of all the acts that they are doing, so that we all understand that it's not just about going to learn how to make film. It's also about how to find money to make a film, and also about how to make money from a film, so that when you are trying to approach someone with money or a financial institution that has been incentivized by government, you know how to prepare your package in a form of a business document that project revenues and then how to even pay back those money and even make profit. So these are all things that probably we should be looking at in a broader perspective instead of the overall thing that.
Quickly, what's your take on the Film Village promise?
Yeah. At Kwame, if there's a film village and no matter how cheap it is, you can't afford it. You can't afford it. And if it is there and you can afford it, but you cannot make a film that will make back the money, then it's just going to be a waste of a village or of a land. You get my point? That's what I'm saying, that so many things come to play before even the film village conversation. It's like a demand and supply thing. If you know that there's high production of film in the country, Then you look at, okay, how do we profit from this? Okay, then let's build a film village to make sure that people come to rent it, and then we make some money from there. It's just like building a studio. Film village is more or less like saying we are building a film studio. That's all it is. Okay, or film community.
Good.
But if there's no demand for the productions that are ongoing are not at their peak, and you are creating a film village, it will be there and it will deteriorate. Like you just keep maintaining it, and you just give up on it. Just like, the Trade Fair Center now is over there because there's no activity going on there for you to even say, oh, there's something happening, so let's sustain it to make money. But that's why the film village is going to turn into. But if the system is already ripe, and then people are making film, and you feel that, okay, this is an opportunity, or this is a window we can tap into as government. So let's create an opportunity. Let's create this thing that people will access to pay some money, and then that becomes reasonable. But if you create it and we don't need it, then there's a problem. Do you get my point? It's a good idea in principle, but the practicality of it now is that it's not my money, but of course, I'm paying taxes out. I've said they should build it anyway because my money is not going to it. But it's taxes, and so I cannot say they should just build it when we don't find a need for it. The things we need right now is not even the film village; it's the exhibition center, because people are already making films. People are making films in their independent ways, using people's home, using the streets. Of course, now some of the government spaces are becoming expensive that we can't even shoot today to show that, oh, this is a national theatre, this is how it looks like, this is the independent square of Ghana, this is how it looks like, so let's go and visit Ghana. Now, this is becoming too expensive, so they are shooting in people's home, and that idea of really promoting Ghana is not even dominant or dominating or present in our films, because those spaces that are national monuments that we could even put in our films to project the country, we are being charged heavily for it. So you see, it's going to come back to the same thing that you cannot even access the government facilities because they are expensive. You get my point. Where we can do it free on the street or in somebody's home, or even at a little money than even the government is in. So those are not. I'm saying that we can do it, but to the best of in my opinion, it's not number one or number two. I don't think it's even number three.
Okay. Peter Sedufia, thanks so much for your time this evening on Showbiz A to Z. We appreciate your time with us on the show. Yeah. So, Joy 99.7 FM, we've been talking about President or ex-President Mahama's policy ideas for the creative economy. And we've been delving into that. We are back after this.
The regular football season is over. But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way. Get connected to DSTV to see some of football's biggest names starring in all 51 matches of Euro 2024, live and in HD. Now that's a big deal.
Can you hear it? The freedom in our songs, the sound of liberty that rings from Kaswa to Karaga, from Tamale to Takoradi. It's in the pestles that pound from coast to coast. It's in the busy offices, the crowded streets, and the noisy schools. It's in the wisdom of our elders and in the laughter of our children. It's in seeing how far we've come and looking at how much we can grow. It's in knowing that still Ghana go be. MTN.
Dive into a new era of news consumption with myjoyonline.com, your go-to destination for cutting-edge journalism, giving you the most credible stories from business to politics and from sports to entertainment. Myjoyonline.com introduces an upgraded news website meticulously designed to empower you with an enriched browsing experience like never before. Experience the future of news browsing with myjoyonline.com.
Introducing Pick 4 from Game Park Games, the easiest lottery to play and win. Pick 4 all numbers from 0 to 9 up to 3 times a day to become one of our daily winners. More moolah, more power. Play online at www.gamepackgames.com or dial *946# to play. Game Pack Games is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Pick 4 from Game Pack Games. More moolah, more power.
This is GoTV, and right here is where Euro Champions 2024 lives. From Bumper's brilliance, CR7s, and every goat in Europe to show the world what they are made of. Be part of the unbeatable action at an unbeatable price. Get connected to GoTV and catch the excitement of Europe's biggest football event. Only on SuperSport, on GoTV, and on the go with GoTV Stream. The Euro 2024 live. That's GoTV for you. Love it.
Happy Father's Day.
When you call me this Sunday, don't forget to ask how I'm really doing.
How are you?
Because Father's Day is a great excuse to open up about the struggles of manhood.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And if you think I need help, ask me to call Linka on 059 632 4633. They listen.
That's Linka, LNKR.
Nobody wanna see you rise.
Inside LOC presents Ghana to the World. It's the Back to the Future concert. A concert that celebrates the iconic era of Zonto music in Ghana. On the night, we're set to honor the legacy of Castro on the Fire.
Castro again, oh, featuring Baby Jet.
One of the greatest to hold it down for GH Music. Show date is the 22nd of June, and the venue is Palladium, inside New York. On stage, it's a star-studded lineup. Catch it. 4x4, Joey B, It's Tiffany, Kwame Eugene, and many more. Get your tickets now at www.ticketmaster.com or check our socials for more ticket information. Ghana to the World.
Hello, Monica. Can you come over?
Go Back to the Future concert by Inside LOC, 22nd of June, Palladium, New York. Ghana, this is our concert. Come, let's do it for the culture. Culture.
Oh my God, pardon me, Monica.
All right, Joe 99.7 FM, still on Showbiz A to Z. My name is Kwame Dadzie, show brought to you by MTN. Everywhere you go, Superstar multi-fruit drink. And we've been analyzing the NDC's policy ideas for the creative economy. But tomorrow, 2 big things are happening. It's Father's Day, and it's also Pentecost Hour on Joe 99.7 FM. So as we celebrate fathers, we'll be listening to Pentecost Hour by the chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Eric Nyameche, happening tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. and every Sunday on Hits FM, every Monday, 5:30 a.m. Joy Prime TV, Saturday, 7 a.m. So tune in every Sunday, Monday, Saturday, as Apostle Eric Nyameche brings you life-transforming truth that nourishes the soul, ignites passion, and restores hope in the nations. Yeah. Talking about going to church, we'll be going to the Black Star Square on 30th June. It's all about Praise Reloaded 2024. So Joe Metal Ministries is thrilled to announce the return of the annual Praise Reloaded concert, and this year it's going to be bigger and better than ever. Yeah, so the theme is the Holy Spirit Encounter, and you can expect a lineup of anointed gospel musicians including MOG, Ohima Mercy, Pastor Isaiah, Nathaniel Bassi, Sumisola Agbebi, Kofi Prepra, Luigi McLean, Enyo Nyam, yeah, Team Eternity Ghana, Sandra Buachidria, Kwekute, my man, CT Praise, and so many more. Mark your calendars for Sunday, June 30, 2024, because Praise Reloaded is set to take place at the Accra Sports Stadium. Yeah, Accra Sports Stadium, rather. Yeah, Accra Sports Stadium. And the best part is, it's absolutely free. You don't pay anything. But you have to register on joemetalmusic.com. joemetalmusic.com to secure your seat now. Gates will open at 1 p.m. on the day. and the event kicks off promptly 3 p.m. So come early, find a good spot, and get ready for an unforgettable night of prayer, praise, and worship. For more information and updates, visit joemetalmusic.com or follow Joe Metal Ministries on social media. Don't miss out on this one. It's the Holy Spirit Encounter. It's going to be a night to remember. Sponsors are Silicon House Productions, High End Productions, Green Lion Juice and Smoothie, Big Ideas Consult, the Family Health Organization, Tank Palace Hotel, Joe Bag and Ghana Limited, Africa World Airlines, iPay, Ace Protocol Services, Timeline Creative, RC Security, 360 Productions, and DDP, media partner, Joy Entertainment, yeah. So it's Sunday, June 30, across Sports Stadium, 3 p.m. Spread the word, bring your friends and family, and let's make the most powerful praise reloaded yet. See you there. All right, so still here talking about the policy ideas by the NDC's John Mahama, and we've been doing justice to that. We have a few more to go. Let me go to my big men here and pick their closing remarks as they analyze them, maybe one. Then we leave. Let me start with Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken, yes, we've done a lot, or a number of them. We have a lot more to go, but we can do now.
Yes. So
yes. Which one are you settling on as your closing prayer?
my closing one. Okay. I want to take a look at something I saw that tickled my fancy.
Good.
And
please, in 1.5 minutes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Mahama said he would like to build a new city on the banks of the Volta region with arts facilities that will boost tourism.
Yeah.
He had already told us that he would pursue the continuation or whatever of the Marine Drive.
Yes.
Now, that's also a huge project.
Very huge.
To undertake. And this build a new city in the Volta region. Look, the Volta region, no doubt, is one of the topmost tourism attractions in this country. Nobody can dispute that, But I think that it is something that cannot be done in the 4 years of his administration.
He said it.
Did he?
Yeah, he said he cannot do that within 4 years. He will start for
the
generations to come to
okay, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he wants to start.
Yeah.
Because the Volta region, as for the tourism, potential of that region, nobody can doubt it. So if he did add that it is only going to be a start of it, then that makes sense for me.
Great. Okay, so that's your points.
You said 1.5 hours.
Yes,
Minutes.
1 point.
Minutes.
Yes. Okay, are you done, please?
But you said 1.5.
Yes, so your time is up. Okay, 7 Xavier. 1.5 minutes.
Well, I think what I wanted to talk about was to streamline copyright modalities and IP laws.
Yeah.
Very much needed.
Good.
Very much needed. And it still also ties back into the fact that the act kind of talks about this too.
Okay.
The copyright courts. Everything is in there. I've not seen one case go to the court yet, but there was one that should have gone there, which was Hama or Bravo Manche. Yeah. That court case was over so quick.
Is it over?
Yeah, it's over.
It's not over.
Oh, it is.
It's not over.
Well, there was a judgment.
Is it over? Okay,
Well,
we'll get to that.
It
Let's
shouldn't be,
move on.
but anyway, you're eating into my time.
Sorry, let's go. Let's go on.
Yeah, so now
the courts were never established.
Yes. What I'll say is, if the acts works, the laws work, it will change. It will solve 3/4 of our problems. I think we all know, sir, there's no money. Sikano Ashik. So when you look at all these things, and it's like there's a money component in every single one of them.
You lie back.
I don't really trust it. You know, I don't trust the man Mahama.
Is it that we don't have the money, or
we don't,
or powers
there's
that
no
be
money.
are unwilling to release?
No, there's no money right now.
the
I
money.
mean, the same reason we are experiencing doom sauce and these other things.
Yes.
There's no money.
Okay.
We should all face the fact there's no money now. So
Alright.
we probably can take another manifesto full of I'll give you this, I'll give you that, I'll give you that. When a basic solving or making sure the acts or the laws work would solve, because I always say Gumroad for in this copyrights and IP laws thing. If Gumroad is handled properly, most of these musicians should be making money.
Good.
Like the top single, the top song in the country, royalties should exceed 1 million cedis.
Exactly.
Easily.
Are you setting up your own? Or you've abandoned that?
They won't give us the
Gumroad is the only one that has the license to do that.
Don't give us the license.
Okay.
So that is my one submission that should be done. Another thing. Another thing that would not. Another thing that would not make some of these things come to light is the fact that the humans appointed to oversee these things, they are the real problem.
Yes.
It's not the president, it's nothing else.
No.
It is the humans who are put in these places. They stifle our industry.
Great.
So I think we should all be concerned about who heads these things or who goes to some of these agencies under the ministry who handle these things, because then just looking at these people, we should know we should just go to bed. Put everything aside, because nothing's going to happen.
Awesome.
Just like we had Mark Okwekumante. I love him, but yeah, he failed.
Robert Sklar. Robert Sklar. Please don't feel us.
I'm just wondering why you're saying Matt failed.
We will get into that later.
Okay, let's. All right. So for me, okay, so I'm reading it says declare the golden age of culture, arts and tourism, an overarching policy for the sector. I love the fact that there's an overarching policy for the sector. But immediately what comes to mind is, what about the other policies that have been set up in place? You know, so the documents and everything. If those things are activated immediately, it would solve a lot of the problems that we are discussing right now. You know, so those are some of the things that I'm looking for. And then initially, earlier when we were having a conversation, Seven mentioned that some of the things that we discussed or they worked on are a bit outdated, and we quickly need to be able to update some of the
just 4 years ago.
Yeah, but because things keep changing very quickly. So I'm looking at a situation where at least there are four legs within the creative sector that we need to be able to affect whatsoever it is. We have the creatives, which we have to be able to ensure that they take care of them. So we are looking for them to be at their best in terms of creativity, whatever is going to help them be at their level, that level we need that, whether it's education, it's being in schools, whatsoever. The second one is the businesses that run the creative economy. They need to be empowered. You know, they need to be enabled. We need to attract more investors to put money into it, and we need to be able to, you know, give them whatever it takes for them to scale up and be able to do more for the space. Then we need the third is the business professionals who work within that space. And by this I mean we need to be able to attract, how many entertainment lawyers do we have? You know, we need to attract more people who would come into our space and work with us. You understand? So experts in marketing, experts, lawyers, whatever. All of these folks need to come within the space so they can also contribute their quota.
Okay.
And then we now need the support system to be able. So the support systems are things that essentially we can't do for ourselves, but they serve as a backbone. So those are the things we need. So from the infrastructures and policies, etc. I think that when we say golden age, it should be able to cover all of these things and affect, you know, the entire value chain, essentially.
Fantastic. Robert Sklar there. Now, could you Preko Dankwa?
Yes,
1.5 minutes.
Yeah, quick one. Greetings to Victor Usubuating. He says he's listening to us.
Great.
So I wanted to touch on the revive of the Marine Drive project. I think it's long overdue.
Yeah.
Monies were there. I mean, very disgraceful, where you have your deputy tourism minister plus the chief director sit in front of Public Accounts Committee, and the question is asked, where is the money? The account is empty. Where it is, and chief director of a ministry tells you that he doesn't know where the money has gone to. I mean, monies that we all know that it was purposely for the Marine Drive project 8 years ago. Indeed, the NDC started the process before they left anyway. Now this is where we are. We gave huge sums of money to Ajayi to plan or to draw the whatever it is. Some millions of dollars is gone. We use them for Kundum Festival and all that. For me, I think that it is shameful, disgraceful. Reviving it is one of the best things because of that we have taken off the arts center. There, which is very, very bad for the industry. And this thing, I feel that if we have to go back to revive it, is one of the best things that will help the country.
Thank you very much, Kojo Preko. Okay, hi to you, Kobe. Yeah, Kojo Preko Dankwa, convener, Focap, Robert Clark, creative entrepreneur, Peter Sedufia, filmmaker. Ken Addy is veteran broadcaster. Yeah. Uncle, and then 7 Xavier, President, Ghana Music Alliance, Showbiz A to Z. My name is Kwame Dadzie, show produced by Philip Nye, assisted by Anita Tai, Olivier found on social media, and it was brought to you by MTN Everywhere You Go Superstar Multi-Food Drink. We're back same time next week, leaving you in the hands of Akwabua, and he says, Bear Mensu, happy Father's Day to all fathers.